Hey guys, it's Darren, and I'm bringing you a short series of videos that are an introduction to Guns of Icarus Online. The Defenders of Faith, we are opening up a second division that's going to be for Guns of Icarus Online. There will be a link in the description to our forums if anybody's interested in joining. What I'm going to be doing in these videos is just showing you the basics of Guns of Icarus Online. I'm going to go through classes, ships, weapons, and different stuff about the game, and we're also going to be bringing you gameplay videos in future. Just kind of depends. I don't have any type of schedule. I'm hoping to do a weekly video of Guns of Icarus, but I'm not sure if that's going to work out, but we'll see. Anyway, getting right into it, the first part is the classes. There are three classes. There's Pilot, Engineer, and Gunner. We'll start with Pilot. Personally, Pilot is my favorite. Even though Engineer is actually a lot of fun, I find Gunner to be kind of in one sense, the weakest class, because it's pretty much just, it's not really anything new. It's pretty much just your typical point and shoot. So basically, the way the system works is you get one skill from each of the class items and skills. So you get one from each, but whichever your primary class is, you get two additional ones. So you'll have three total. Right now I'm Pilot, so you have three Pilot skills, and then one Engineer skill and one Gunner skill. So basically what this means is that no matter what class you are, you will always be able to do help in doing other things besides just what your class is. So for instance, one of the ones that I think makes the most sense is to take a repair tool for your engineer thing, because there's no point in really taking something that you can take a fire extinguisher or taking an upgrade tool. It's probably going to be better that everybody who's not an engineer has a repair tool for their one slot. Another example is for gunners and engineers. I find it's most valuable to take the spyglass, for instance, as in your piloting slot, because all the other skills require you to actually be at the helm. But we'll get more into the individual skills themselves later. So that you have the pilot, which obviously he pilots the ship, he flies it and everything, and usually a lot of people will have the captain be the pilot, just because that kind of just really works out for the best. But it doesn't have to be that way. The captain could be an engineer or a gunner and then have someone else be the pilot. And you can, of course, as an engineer or a gunner, pilot the ship. There's no restrictions for you have to be a pilot in order to pilot the ship. Anyone could actually pilot the ship when you get into the game, but as you can see, the pilot, of course, is going to have a way more skills, and a bunch of these skills are really useful when piloting a ship. You can give yourself speed boosts and just tons of different stuff like that. The engineer's main role is to repair the ship, upgrade different parts of the ship, and pretty much just keep the ship running and flying. They have a lot of different skills. One of the items is they have three different repair items. They've got the shifting spanner, which does it only repairs a little bit, but it repairs it the fastest, and it has a faster cooldown time. The thing with cooldown time is that every time you hit something with your repair tool, it begins to cool down, and it has a certain number of seconds before you can repair that component of the ship again. So the shifting spanner, obviously, it repairs the lowest amount of health, but you can do so quicker. So in certain situations, that'll be better. And then you have the pipe wrench, which does a medium amount of repair, but it has a longer cooldown than the spanner. And then you have the rubber mallet, which repairs the most, but has the longest cooldown. So, I've seen engineers who will take two different repair. Don't think I've ever seen anyone who has all three repair tools, but I'll see one who takes like the spanner and then the rubber mallet, and you can kind of just switch it back and forth depending on what the situation is. So I've been using the pipe wrench. A little bit of lag right there. Then I also usually take the buff tool right here, and the buff tool basically allows you to takes a certain number of hits depending on the component of the ship, but basically you can hit a component of the ship with it, and once you hit it enough times, it will buff it for a certain period of time, and as you can see, it actually lists what the buffs it does to the different parts of the ship, like the engine, the guns, stuff like that. And then the last two sets of tools really is the fire extinguisher and the chemical spray. What these do is they put out fires. Different parts of the ship can catch fire, different components on the ship, and you can't really repair the components until the fire is put out. You can try to repair it, but the fire will just keep doing damage, and you can't just put out the fire by repairing it. I'm pretty sure that the fires do go out over time, but it takes quite a while. So you're pretty much always going to want to have at least one person having something to put fires out with, especially as there are certain weapons that will have a higher chance of lighting stuff on fire and different stuff like that. This one is the chemical spray. It extinguishes, the way it works is there's basically so many, the fire kind of has hit points in a sense, and basically you have to take away all of the fire hit points, essentially. Even though you can't see me, I'm doing air quotes. But the chemical spray doesn't put the fire out permanently, but you can reuse it faster. The fire extinguisher instantly puts out a fire, but it has a 6-second cooldown. So if you have two components that are on fire, you can put one out instantly, but you have to wait 6 seconds before you can use it again to put out the other one. So, but I usually find the fire extinguisher to be better. Again, except for those times when you're going to have just the entire ship's on fire, but in that point, you're probably screwed. Okay, the gunner is the last one, and I've played as the gunner the least, but basically there's all of these skills are different types of ammunition. So what you can do is you can pretty much in any gun, I think there are some restrictions, like I don't think you can put certain ammo types into a flamethrower, obviously, but for pretty much all the guns you can change out the ammo. And you can just use default ammo, or you can basically use one of your selected skill ammos and use a special type of ammo, and there's different bonuses. Like burst rounds gives you increase in explosive area of effect, increased clip size, but it has a slower rate of fire. So there's always, pros and cons to different ammo. And you have a tons of different ones. There's different ones. Like I said, I haven't played as the gunner that much, so I don't really know what's good or bad for the gunner. So we'll probably wait and let someone else talk about that. Awesome dude plays the gunner a lot, so I may get him to do a short video talking about what he likes. And a lot of it is just going to be personal preference. So I'll talk a little more about pilot, go through the skills. For me as pilot, I pretty much always take the spyglass, though I'm thinking that actually being the pilot yourself, this is a bad idea. For gunner and engineer, I think they should always take the spyglass as their one piloting skill, because like I said, all the other skills require you to be at the helm, and the spyglass is the only one you can use separately, and it's really, really useful. Basically what the spyglass allows you to do is you can zoom in and then left click and while looking at a enemy ship, and it marks the ship. And what it does is when it's marked, it shows little brackets around it when you look at the ship, so it's easier to tell enemy ships from friendly ships at a glance. Another thing it does is when you mark an enemy ship, when other players pull up their map, the enemy ship will show up on the map, because usually the only ships that show up on the map when you look at it are your ship and any friendly ships. So what marking does, it shows the enemy ship, it displays the enemy ship on the map when other players look at it, and so it's really good for, especially like if you have two ships and your friendlies are a ways away and they don't necessarily know where the enemy is, and if you spot the enemy ship within the enemy, your friendly ship can just look at their map and see where the enemy ship is and know where they need to go and stuff like that. So it's definitely my pilot skill of choice for gunner and engineer. I have been using it as the pilot as well, but I don't think it's necessarily required, because for the most part your gunners are going to be on the lookout for enemy ships anyway, and the pilot's usually more often than not going to be pretty much stuck at the helm, because it's there's not a lot of downtime. There's actually not a lot of downtime for any of the classes. In gunner probably have the most downtime in certain situations, just because there might be a time when either you're far away from enemy ships, or you're not in range, or the enemy ship is, you've destroyed all the enemy ships and you're waiting for one of them to respawn or something, or you're just kind of sitting around waiting for an enemy ship for some reason or something. So they have potential to have a long downtime. The engineers also can have downtime, but one of the things is, as an engineer, if you have the buffering tool, the buffing hammer, what you can do is you can run around the ship buffing all the different components on the ship and everything when you're not actually having to repair stuff. So that's usually you're not going to have as much downtime. And as the pilot, you're obviously going to be piloting the ship pretty much the entire time. So not really a lot of downtime. Here, the different skills for them is obviously the Spyglass, which I already explained that. The Phoenix Claw, which allows you to basically, you have a decrease to your angular drag and your decrease to your longitudinal nah, I'm not gonna try to say it. Drag, and then but you take 13 damage per second to all engines, and a lot of the skills damage your engines, or actually several of them anyway. So the Phoenix Claw basically allows you to maneuver better, but your engines take damage. The Hydrogen Canister does kind of the same thing. It makes you be able to, it increases your lift, and it also increases your drop, so you can ascend and descend a lot faster. But it also has a fire ignition chance, so it basically increases the chance that your engines will catch on fire, and it also damages your engines for while it's activated. Moonshine, which is one that a lot of people like, and it's a really fun one to use. Basically, it gives you a major speed boost. You just can go ridiculously fast, but it damages your engines in an insane amount, and just really can burn your engines down. If you don't let the engineers have a heads up, you'll just lose your engines really fast. The drag chute is basically what it does when essentially when your balloon is killed, and it's not just when your balloon is killed, but this is pretty much the only time I found that this would actually be useful. But basically, if your balloon is destroyed and you're descending and you're dropping really fast, you can use a drag chute, and it will slow your descent. And then you have Tar Barrel, which I've never actually used this one, but basically what it does is when you activate it, it emits smoke from kind of behind and around the ship, I'm pretty sure. So another thing is that when you are going back to the Spyglass, when you're spotted, if you lose sight of an enemy, they will no longer be spotted. So basically, as soon as you lose sight of them, you can't see them, so you don't know where they are, so they're not spotted anymore, so you have to respot them when you can see them. So the Tar Barrel creates a cloud that you can potentially hide in, or use to get away, or slows down enemy ships and stuff, but it damages your engines, and also does some other stuff, mainly just damaging your engine, I'm pretty sure. The chute vent, it's the opposite of the parachute thing. Basically, it allows you to descend very quickly. So the other one slows you down. This one speeds up your descent. And then this one, which one of my personal favorites, is impact bumpers, which it subtracts 25% impact damage taken. It also, side effect, it decreases your engine output by 60%, so you're going to be really slow. But what this is really good is if you're going up against a ship that's designed to ram, or if the enemy ship is just trying to ram you in general, you can, as the pilot, you can quickly activate your impact bumpers. It'll slow down your ship significantly, but you will take a lot less damage from ramming. And if your ship is already damaged and you get rammed, that'll just screw you over, and you die so quickly. So those are pretty much all the skills. This video has been going on for pretty long, so I think I'm going to end this one here, and next video I'll talk about the different classes of ships, and probably also the different weapons that all the ships can have. So I'm Darren. This is first video for Guns of Icarus Online. Again, if you're interested in joining a dedicated, organized clan for Guns of Icarus Online, there will be a link to our forum in the description. If you like this video, like it, subscribe if you want to see more. There will be more Guns of Icarus to come in the future, sooner rather than later, and of course we will continue our regular series on the channel. So, till next time.
Pick Mario. Oh my.